Hello.
The southern door to the Slocum's Joe offices. Inside, if we have not cleared this already, we find 3 raiders we need to kill. Once they are dead, we can explore and immediately see a bunch of new stuff. In the northeastern corner of the offices, we find a brand new machine called a coffee station. From here, we can craft dozens of new coffee and tea items. We'll get back to this in a minute. Heading into the next room, we see some clothing on a shelf, a Slocum's Joe visor, and a Slocum's Joe uniform. Next to this, we find the Slocum's Joe delivery crate lying on the ground. Inside, we find a Slocum's Joe franchise kit. We have permanently unlocked the Slocum's Joe Donuts and Coffee Workshop. Start building your delicious empire today. After we loot this magazine, we can now access the new Slocum's Joe items from our settlement workshop. In this crate are a bunch of raw materials we'll need to craft our donuts, including purified water, the brand new donut mix, and the brand new Slocum's Joe espresso tin. We can also get 4 sets of the Slocum's Joe uniform and visor, and 2 sets of the Slocum's Joe t-shirt and jeans. There's more donut mix on the ground next to a big pink donut box that we can't interact with. The Slocum's Joe uniform has 0 stats, except for 1 charisma. Clearly, this is not designed to be a combat uniform. The visor is also pretty barren, granting only 1 perception, and it looks exactly as we would expect. We get a pink visor and a pink Slocum's Joe shirt, as if we've just joined the Slocum's Joe family. If you look at the shoes, we see a bunch of pink paste. Looks like the employee who had worn this costume before had stuffed in a bunch of frosting. That's a nice little touch. The Slocum's Joe t-shirt and jeans likewise have no damage stats, but they do grant us +1 to luck. This looks really similar to the Nuka World t-shirt and jeans that we found from the Nuka World DLC, except it's bright pink, the Slocum's Joe logo on it. If we haven't already, we can loot the nearby desk for the Notice to Slocum's Joe and 4 Slocum's Joe Buzz Bites, which I covered in the Slocum's Joe video, and unlock an advanced locked safe for the Slocum's Joe Buzz Bites recipe. After looting 1 Slocum's Joe espresso tin by the coffee maker, we can head out the door and travel to our settlement of choice. When we pop open our settlement build menu, we head to the far right, we find a category for Creation Club creations. We find a brand new category here called Slocum's Joe. Inside, we find a completely new build set. We find 4 new floors. There's a concrete foundation version and a simple square wooden tile version. Each of these floors is a ceramic tile of a different color: black, yellow, pink, and blue. The build menu also comes with some brand new brick walls. This brick wall appears to be a gray stucco with some festive Slocum's Joe stripes going down the middle. There's another one that's blue stucco with some pink tile work going down the middle. And here's my favorite, a completely blank brick wall. This will be useful even outside of building a donut shop. I love it when a tile set can be versatile. The next one is a white brick with pink stucco on the back, and then a plain white brick wall. We also find a doorway version of each of these walls. I'm going to go ahead and put down a brick one. There's only 1 roof tile. It's a flat roof. On the inside of the roof, we see these cardboard or plaster roof tiles, and on top, we see some cracked tar. And finally, we find a window version of each of these walls. The window is a nice big window, perfect for showing off your product. And we even see glass in the window. Next, we'll go over some signs. There are 2 lit signs that come with this creation. Both say Slocum's Joe, and one has a donut holding some coffee. I'm going to go ahead and power this building by placing a pylon on top, connecting it to the electricity, and then heading on inside. Take a look at that. They glow a beautiful pink color. I love it. Next, we get 2 diner boots. One is a worn, dirty tan color, and the other is a worn, dirty pink color. And they do snap together. I love the thought that went into this, making it easy to stack these in just the right way in our donut shop. This pack comes with 1 brand new ceiling light, the Slocum's Joe ceiling light. If we have a pylon nearby, it'll automatically light up. There are 2 static versions of these signs that don't light up, and we find 2 street side sandwich boards. One is a billboard showing off the menu, and the other is a chalkboard showing off the menu. We find 2 new cloth canopies that snap to the outside of the wall, a blank wall and a wall with a door. One is pink striped, the other white striped. Both of them say donuts, pastries, espresso. Next, we find countertops. It's a reskinned version of the diner counters we're used to, with the Slocum's Joe coloring logo on top, and these do snap together, making it easy to make a nice front counter for the register. We find 2 new Slocum's Joe crates. These are just like the yellow wooden crates we've seen in the game, only one is reskinned pink Slocum's Joe and the other reskinned tan. Both work as functional containers. It's here I want to point out that many of the items we find in this Slocum's Joe section of our build menu are also found scattered around the other menus of our workshop. And there is a strange bug or quirk. If we were in the Slocum's Joe category when placing items in our settlement, and then we exit workshop mode and then re-enter workshop mode, as is typical, the settlement menu brings us back to the last item we interacted with. However, if it's an item that's found both in the Slocum's Joe category and, say, as in this case, the furniture category, it can sometimes pop us into the furniture category. So even though I never navigated here, I'm in furniture containers. We find the Slocum's Joe crates. Here I am in Creation Club, Slocum's Joe, exit the workshop, re-enter, and I'm in furniture containers. This can get a little confusing and a little frustrating, as we'll often have to back out of these menus to return to the Slocum's Joe category to continue building. I'm pretty confident this is not just an issue for me due to some mod conflict, because I've seen people online complaining about it, and there are even some user-made mods or fixes that attempt to fix this issue, but it's just a minor quibble. Not too much. We next find some settlement decorations. These are donut boxes. We find 2, a pink one and a tan one. They're just decorations. We can't interact with them like containers. They're not consumables. So they're just there to look nice. And we find a donut display counter. I'm going to go ahead and scrap this one I placed earlier and instead place the pastry display case. It also snaps to the other counter. It's a lit display case, meaning if we place it near a power radiator, the lights inside the case light up. Next up, we find 3 Slocum's Joe donut statues. Great for rooftop or roadside advertising, a pink frosting sprinkle, a plain, and a powdered donut. Next up is doors. We have 2 versions. Both of them are glass doors, but one is a traditional static door, and the other is a door that's programmed to automatically close. And check it out. We open it, and it closes on its own. What a neat touch. There are 2 new big menus. I suppose these are supposed to go on the wall inside behind the counter. I'm just going to put them out here for now. One is backlit and illuminated. It has a bunch of pictures on it. And the other is a chalkboard, like something we'd see in our neighborhood coffee shop. And it comes with 3 new posters. All 3 of these are horizontal posters, which are carbon copies of the Slocum's Joe billboards we've already seen in the game. Great for decorating the inside. There's a Slocum's Joe pastry cooling rack as a decoration item. We can't interact with it. It just looks nice. This is where they put the donuts to cool right after making them. And finally, we find a new shop in the food section. A Slocum's Joe counter. I'm going to go ahead and scrap this one and replace it with the new countertop. We can then assign a seller to this, and he'll walk on over and use it as a shop. We can dress him up in the Slocum's Joe uniform. I couldn't get him to actually sell me anything, but I'm confident that this is my own fault. I have a lot of settlement mods that are really messing things up on this game save, and I've seen videos of this vendor fully functional. So I know that this works. This is just my own glitch. We get 2 new crafting stations, the coffee station and the donut fryer. Between these 2 stations, we can craft 41 new consumables, 16 new drinks, 23 new donuts, and 2 other items that are components for crafting those items. This is a staggering number of new consumables. To put it in perspective, in the base game of FO4 alone, there are only 172 consumable items: food, drink, and chems. Far Harbor only added 39 new consumable items, and Nuka World added 77 new consumables. That counts every flavor of Nuka-Cola and its ice-cold version. This could change the way people play the game. I've seen character builds built around consumables like chems or alcohol. Imagine the kind of character you could build by using consumables like these donuts, coffee, and tea, things you otherwise get perks for. This would allow you to get other perks earlier in the game to potentially make your character much more powerful at early levels. I can't wait to see builds that come out to take advantage of these new consumables. Now, in order to craft many of these recipes, we need to gather the ingredients. Thankfully, we found all of the ingredients if we completely looted the Slocum's Joe offices at the headquarters. However, we don't loot enough to make every single donut. Thankfully, Fading Signal thought of this. You can find a franchise ingredients pack at each of the Slocum's Joe franchise locations in the game. If you head to Lexington and you visit the one that's really a front for the DIA, we find a coffee station against the southern wall. If we loot behind the counter, we can loot more Slocum's Joe espresso tins. And then if we head east into the employees only back area, we find a big Slocum's Joe delivery crate on the top of the shelf. Inside we find more donut mix and coffee tins, as well as more Slocum's Joe coffee. Find 2 packages of donut mix on a shelf and another donut fryer. They didn't place anything in the basement, probably because they didn't want to conflict with the tradecraft quest. Next, if we head to Monsignor Plaza, we can clear the outside and then race up to the top floor. Find a raider using a new coffee station. And heading behind the counter, we can loot 3 packages of donut mix, more coffee tins and espresso tins, and even more tins right next to another Slocum's Joe delivery crate, which includes more tins and more clothing. Here we also find a donut fryer. So even if you're not into settlement building, you can still take advantage of these new consumable items. The final Slocum's Joe franchise is the General Atomics Galleria. Heading to the Galleria and entering the first building to the right, we find the donut fryer outside on the patio and a coffee station against the wall by the door. Heading behind the counter where we find Bean, we discover the Slocum's Joe delivery crate on the bottom of the shelf. And of course here we can loot more tins. We also find one of the new donuts we can craft sitting on the counter. This is the classic sweet roll. Whoa, what was that? Did that sweet roll just make a guttural chanting sound when I picked it up? Let's try that again. Are we imagining this? Each time it sounds a little different. Let's try it someplace a little bit more quiet. Is this an inside joke that I just don't get? Is it a Skyrim reference? In what piece of pop culture do we find a classic sweet roll in relation to, I don't know, a barbarian, a cult? I don't get it. And this is the only confectionery we can craft that has this unique sound effect. If we loot any of the others, it just sounds like we're eating squishy donuts. I don't have an answer for you. It's just weird. But what about after we loot all of those franchise locations? Well, many of these crafting components have been added to container level lists. To experiment with this, I traveled to the Super Duper Mart and just started looting until I found some of these ingredients. I found donut mix in a trash can, more donut mix in another trash can, and that's all I found from looting in Super Duper Mart. I think it's unlikely we'll find these new ingredients as static placements throughout the world, except for in the places we just explored, the places that make sense, like a Slocum's Joe, and we're unlikely to find these in safes, chests, cash registers, and first aid boxes. My bet is we're more likely to find these in trash cans, desks, shelving cabinets, ovens, and refrigerators. I never did find any ramen milk. I don't know if it has been added to the level lists or not, so I'm not sure how one would go about getting some. I thought that perhaps if we had a Brahmin farm, we could produce some over time. So I went to one of my settlements that had a whole bunch of Brahmin. We don't find any new option to milk a Brahmin. And after waiting 5 days, I never found any of the milk appear in my workshop. I even tried killing some of the Brahmin to see if it dropped off of their bodies, but it didn't. So I'm confused about this one. I'm not sure where we find the milk. Maybe we find it in the same way we find the donut mix, and I just got unlucky. At any rate, the Brahmin milk is a consumable in its own right, healing 150 HP and 30 AP at the cost of 1 rad. In addition to finding the donut mix, we can craft it at the donut fryer. To craft one donut mix requires 2
guys.
razor grain and 1 sugar bombs. As well as being an ingredient, we can consume donut mix. It simply heals 67 HP over time at the cost of 1 rand. Bear in mind that I'm reading these bonuses straight from my game. So the base bonuses for each of these items may be a bit lower in your game if you don't have all of the same perks that I do.
Yeah.
You guys want I don't want to hear in the middle of the night. I'm hungry. You hear me? Miss your puppy. You miss your puppy. Yeah, you miss your puppy. He's talking about you after the first night. Batman? Yeah. What? Was it missed you? Yeah, sure did. On my map? On my map? That'll be okay. What? What, you want cocomelon? You don't like cocomelon, do you? TJ, what are you doing? You gonna get in bed? That cow didn't do anything but a little bit. Drink. Okay, get in bed. Get in bed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, you want to get back on your phone and get in bed? Look at him. Look at DJ. Look at DJ. Get healthy. Get healthy. No. Yes.
I have not had time to look into the GAN code to see what these viruses will look like without my purse. And one final note, the stats we get from all of the cockatoo and donut
What? You need to go pee? You're scared? Let's go.
And it looks exactly like the
Go.
last one. Next.
Go.
at the cost of 2 rands. Again, like the last two, this has no additional bonus. The fresh coffee requires atomic orange donut. This requires 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. It yields 150 HP and grants plus 15 energy resist for 20 minutes. Next is the blueberry blast donut. This requires 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. It yields 150 HP and increases radiation resistance for 20 minutes. Next is the Boston cream donut. Requiring 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. It yields 150 HP and grants plus 1 to endurance for 20 minutes. Next, we have the chocolate bar donut. Requiring 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. 150 HP and grants plus 1 to endurance. Next is the chocolate glazed donut. Requiring 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. Giving 150 HP and also granting 1 for 10 minutes. Caramel chocolate minions and chocolate egg. Next up is the classic glazed donut, requiring 1 donut mix in 1 purified water. This heals 150 HP. Also grants us plus 15 to our maximum health for 20 minutes. Next up is that classic straw out there sprinkles all over the place. It's a very clever and well-made paint job. I found the issue, and that's that we find things on the lamps. The T60, the T45, the T51. It's just a minor, not the end of the world, but I had to point it out. It is a more neutral issue. Yeah, probably no other one. This one of the Joe pack also comes with the Sunless Joe tan paint job. This paint scheme increases agility.
Yeah. Huh? I guess.
Broken out.